Thanks for tuning in to Loser Kid Pinball Podcast. I am Josh Roop. With me, my co-captain, as always,
Scott Larson.
It is episode 129. We've got an epic guest, as always, on. And before we get to that, though, Jaws is now out. If you want to get a hold of that, Scott, how are you going to buy your Jaws game?
I actually have one on order right now with Zach and Nicole Mini at Flipping Out Pinball. So get on that Pro Premium or ask if there's an LE. We'll see if we can do that.
I'm hearing they're selling pretty well, actually. So
yeah,
can't complain. And nor can the man with us, who he really needs no introduction, right? Like, people love him, men want to be him, women want to be with him, right? Something like that. The man, the myth, the legend, Keith Elwin. How are you doing, Keith?
I'm all right, hanging in there.
I heard you're a little sick. You caught something more from California than an Indus trophy.
Every pinball tournament, man.
Yeah.
You get the pinball crud. Ugh.
You have to walk around with gloves and just change them every game. So
yeah, well, thank goodness it wasn't COVID, but yeah, it's so lingering and so annoying.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Creasel coined it the con crud. That's what it is, I guess. So I don't know. Doesn't sound like fun. So you just been at home. You called in sick. Well, you had a great reveal, so you just kind of called in sick this week, or what?
I went in for the stream.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
which was great.
Puffed it out.
So, everyone's wanting to know where Jaws just released. You had a little extra time on this game. Like, most of your releases have been within 12 months to 13 months, I feel like. And this one you had over 2.5 years from the reveal of Godzilla to the reveal of Jaws. What was different with this development process? And were you able to test some stuff out? Were you able to get more creative, I guess, with this game?
Well, no, because we weren't supposed to release when we did. So it's pretty natural to, start on a new project when the other one's kind of like ramping up for release. So this just happened to fall when we decided to cut back to 2 cornerstones. So my work was mostly done on this a long time ago. So all this extra time went to both the South Park team and the Jurassic Park 30th update.
Okay.
Cool.
Now this okay, so here's another question too. This is the first Keith Elwin game that has an upper playfield. So
Yes.
Okay, so just curious about that. What this is a departure from your other, your 4 cornerstones and obviously your street level game. So what were the thought processes of going into that?
So when I told I was doing this game, the number one thing I envisioned was an upper playfield themed as Yorka, where you're up there. Originally, I was going to have the shark kind of bust through the back up there, but we just didn't have room to do it. So we went for kind of like the smallest playfield we can do. And my goal was to, hey, what don't I like about upper playfields? Well, it just seems like you're just flailing around, not being in danger. So it was my goal to just have the upper playfield kind of just flow into the rest of the shot pattern. So you get in there, it does this little serpentine to slow down the ball, goes to the mini flipper, and then you have 2 shots. You got a ramp, and then you got the horizontal spinner, which also feeds to another ramp. And you also have what's called the radio target, which will spot anything you need. But those rules aren't in at the moment. But no matter which shot you hit, it's going to find an exit. For the radio target, it's going to dump out on that little metal dump out that kind of feeds the right slingshot. The left ramp kind of feeds the left orbit, and then the reel feeds the mini flipper on the right. So I didn't make any geometry changes since the initial Whitewood, and it's because the shots all did exactly what I wanted them to, and I thought it was perfect.
Speaking of the little flipper and feeding to it, did you always have that little post section right there to kind of hold it to slow down? Because in the stream when I was watching it, it's like blazing fast, and almost like you need to stop everything just to line up what you're doing. So was that, I guess, original concept?
Yeah, actually, we screwed it up in the first Whitewood, and it didn't hold it. So I had to move the hole on everyone's game. But yeah, that was always part of the concept. Just adds a thought it would add, because there's no, like, especially during the multi-ball, there's no place to park the ball. in this game. There's no scoops. There's nothing. The outposts don't come up during multi-ball. So the only chance the player has to park the ball somewhere is using the little flip lock system or just holding the right flipper up.
So speaking of flip lock, I want you to go more into this. Like, I saw it on the stream. It looks awesome. Is it just it holds it through the whole multi-ball? Do you have a timer? What exactly? How does this flip lock system work?
So the way it works is during a multi-ball, if you hold the right flippers in, I think it's for like 1 second, the action button will start flashing green. And then if you hold that down for 1 second, it'll lock the upper flipper in for, I believe, default is 15 seconds, but that can be built upon by bounty hunts, which add perks to that. So there's also, you can do it once per ball, but there's also a perk that you can get. You can do it multiple times per ball. That is right now I think it's the tiger shark. If you catch the tiger shark, you can do it multiple times in a single multi-ball.
Is there a bonus for actually not using that during multi-ball? Because that would be that's harder, right? When you have 4 balls flying at the same time.
It's actually I think it's more fun to not use it and manually hold the flipper up and try to see as far as you can get without trying to release the right side. But it's cool. I think it's just a unique way to like I said, safely park the ball somewhere that's never been done before. So I was pretty excited to finally get that going. That wasn't actually in the game on that initial release stream. That stream was a kind of an older code, so we got that in just before the actual official reveal stream on Monday.
So you were talking about stage flipping, basically. So for people who don't haven't really picked this up, if you typically have 2 flippers, if you hold it in a little bit, it does the it holds the top flipper. You hold it in all the way, and it holds the bottom flipper. Now you have 3 flippers that are activated by the right side, and so if you're trapping up by either stage flipping, is the upper playfield flipper also being activated, or does it lock, or how does that work?
The upper playfield is also that shares the same secondary switch as the right side mini flipper. Flip lock does not affect the upper, basically because that would defeat the purpose. Because the easiest way to use that upper playfield during a multi-ball is to have balls parked away in the flip lock.
So are you going to have modes in here? So I'm thinking like Terra of Mechagodzilla, right? Like it's a multi-ball, but if you were able to flip lock and then put a bunch of balls in there, you could pick off those shots with less hazard. And then it's also like, because then you lose flips as you drain too. Is there some strategy like that that's going to go into this, or what?
No, the strategy is just place to park the balls, man. It's
cool.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
It is. It's unique. It makes you think, oh, do I want to use it now, or do I, want to try to get 2 balls in there, and that way I can play like a 1-ball multi-ball for 15 seconds. It forces you to think a little bit. And then, of course, activating isn't super easy. You kind of have to plan it a couple seconds ahead of time.
And is this like a once a multi-ball or one time per multi-ball? How does that work?
Yeah, right now it's a 1 time per multi-ball per ball in play. But like I said, you can add perks to use it multiple times and also have the longer timer.
So this is the game where you actually get to play the shark. And this is a deviation from a lot of the things, because in Jurassic Park, that would be kind of fun if you could play as the T-Rex and you could eat the villagers or whatever.
Or Thanos in Avengers.
Yeah, or Thanos and you could kill people. Yeah. So how were they receptive to that idea? And were they excited about that? Were they nervous about that? Because, you're kind of playing the bad guy if you're playing the shark.
Yeah, we still haven't fully fleshed out the plays the shark. We got our storyboards and everything. Licensor was fine with it.
Yeah.
But it's something that we're working on. Hopefully, should be in there spring.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be connected to IC. So as you collect shark teeth, you can unlock the plays the shark mode, which is its own entirely own mode, kind of like the Escape Nublar challenge. So it's,
Okay.
Yeah, it's the three balls of its own dedicated mini game.
Okay, that actually that blends into another question that one of my friends asked. He was over last night and saying that we were interviewing you, and he wanted to know about. So he has a Venom. He has a Venom LE, and with this new phase in insider connectivity, with the ability to either build up experience or track things, how is that going to be incorporated into your games, or are you planning on? Obviously, you're planning on that. And how do you view this? Because this is different than all sorts of. Before, you would go up, you'd hit start, and you were starting from scratch every single time. So how has the game changed now?
Yeah, we're not doing the progression towards like actual gameplay. So you can't log in and smart bomb your way to the the finale or whatever. So the way we're doing it is you earn currency known as shark teeth. You cash this currency in the form of challenge modes, and each of these challenge modes have their own leaderboard. So, for example, right now, if you have 20 shark teeth, you can unlock the video mode challenge, which is basically the video mode but with unlimited levels. And things starts getting really hard after like level 4 or 5. So I'm actually really excited to see the leaderboard on this when it goes live. The other one is Plays the Shark, and I'm sure we'll do some more. We do have a ranking system. Basically, for all the teeth you collect, I think it's 100, 150 something that you earn a shark jaw. Each time you earn a shark jaw, you progress your rank towards, you're working your way up the food chain in the ocean. You start off as a mackerel, and you work your way all the way up to a great white. And I believe it's 15 or 16 ranks between the two.
And then you keep your rank right over time. This is like a this is
Earned.
kind of the track progression.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and then I assume you
This
keep
is
your teeth
basically
as
for
well.
it's for bragging rights. Yeah, so you have spendable teeth, and then you have a lifetime teeth. Your lifetime teeth are what when you have enough to fill in an entire great white jaw, then it becomes a jaw, and then your teeth reset to whatever you need. But the spendable teeth, those will keep going as long as you don't spend them.
Okay. Are these teeth easy to obtain? Like, how is it just hitting like a stand up in the game? Like, how are we collecting these teeth?
They work very similar towards just achievements. There's just baked in achievements like starting Jaws multi-ball. You get a
Okay.
couple teeth. You land a bounty shark, you get a couple teeth. So it's all just kind of scattered throughout the game, and doing different things during the game.
So kind of similar to like trophies in Avengers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Okay. Easy enough. That's easy to think of. That's cool. That's I like that. And it's cool because like if I go out to a location, I'm playing with friends, I can still be working towards progress at home as well, but it's not taking away that gameplay value of the main game. So that's a cool concept. I like that.
Yeah, that was like I didn't really want to have you be able to just kind of jump it into wizard modes. I think I'd rather offer the wizard modes or the challenge modes in a different light. Um, you want to play this? Okay, yeah, you can try it out. But once you spend your teeth, then you have to accumulate enough teeth to try it again, basically.
That's like digital currency almost.
Yeah, that
No.
way you won't get sick of the challenge mode. Like, I know people play the Nublar challenge over and over. People who have a topper on Godzilla play the time attack challenge. It's like same thing, but you actually you need to earn it, and then hopefully that'll keep it fresh for you. And also it offers leaderboards, so which is the other benefit.
Okay, so with Jaws, now we all know that Archer was initially your demo game that you converted to Iron Maiden for your first game. Now that Iron Maiden obviously came after you had designed. So for this seems very specific to Jaws. And so it seems like you definitely incorporated the theme into the game design, because it's not like this would work for, I don't know, Black Widow or Black Panther or something like that. So how would that how is that different knowing the theme beforehand, or is this typical how you do it now, is that you get the theme and you try to figure out how to blend the experience with the theme?
Yeah, well, the biggest challenge to doing this game in particular was, when we first concepted it, and George was in the meeting too, and he was just, yeah, dude, guys, we got to have a moving fin mech, and yeah, we're like, yeah, we'll figure this out. But I was like pretty adamant that it's not, mick on a stick. It's like, if we're gonna do this, it has to pop up in the playfield and disappear. I don't want it out there all the time, hiding behind a post or whatever. And so Harrison and I concepted something out, and lo and behold, man, the footprint of that thing is gigantic. I mean, it's huge. If you ever look under one of these, you'll see how big it is. And so basically, I had to design the entire middle right side around this gigantic mech, which is why the shots on the back right side are so far back there. This is the only place I can fit it. So that's kind of what you have to take into account when you're designing a game, knowing what you're doing. Whereas, if I took the Archer layout and tried to theme it Jaws, there was no way that mech was going to fit on that playfield layout.
I like this mech because it's like a mashup between like the stand-ups and Cactus Canyon mixed with like Dracula from Monster Bash.
Yeah.
And I love that I was wondering if it moved back and forth, but as I was watching the stream, it looks like it just kind of moves from left to right. Correct? Like it doesn't.
It can move back and forth, but obviously it looks silly, the shark fin moving backwards. So.
Yeah. The shark put it in reverse. And
Sharks can't swim backwards. Yeah, we know that.
It technically can. It just doesn't. We're using it in two different ways. We're using it, it's in motion. We have, I think, 3 or 4 different speeds it can move smoothly from left to right. And we also have it, like you said, almost, that's a good analogy, the Cactus Canyon pop-up targets. We can pop it up anywhere in that track we want. We call it the quick shot feature. So it kind of pops up out of the playfield for a few seconds, and if you hit it, you win gear, which is our perks. It turned out exactly how we drew it up, except for the shape of the fin. But I covered that in our podcast. It was making quite a mess.
Well, and the other thing I love about this too on the stream, this is a moment when this fin comes out, and it's the mixture of the music, what Jerry did with that shoot now. It feels like there's some urgency and some pressure on hitting this shot, and it's amazing. I love how you guys have set this up. It's awesome.
Yeah, Jerry killed it on this for sure.
So
now we there was the thing online, and you did talk about it in your podcast, but can you briefly talk about why the shark does not eat the ball? Because it seems like that's the main theme that a few people are really focusing on.
Oh, we tried. So what people don't understand, we have certain parameters we have to meet from the licensor, and they wanted the shark that kind of pop up and scare someone. And it's like, yeah, that sounds awesome. But then when you try to add a ball eating mech to that same thing, basically it became a shark elevator. So instead of the shark jumping out of the water, we basically had this elevator, and the shark moved perfectly horizontal to the playfield.
Like Godzilla.
It looked exactly. Imagine the building having the shark on top of the building, and that's how lame it looked.
Hey, by the way, I'm putting a shark on top of my Godzilla building right now. Yeah.
So we scrapped out of one, and then we tried another one where it was coming up from under the boat. But the problem is, in order to have it eat the ball, it only comes up so far, and you can barely see it. And it was just basically a moving scoop. And you know how I love scoops.
Mm-hmm.
So all of us kind of stood around this and said, "This is stupid." It's like, I'd rather have the shark pop way up, pop out really fast, and then you bash it, and it disappears.
I want to say this is kind of the first time, like, yeah, you have like the building on Godzilla, and it's technically a bash toy, but you can shoot through it. With this, it's like a straight up bash toy. Have you always wanted to do a bash toy? Is this just kind of, this is what it is because of the theme?
Yeah, it's kind of what it is with the theme. I don't have a thing against bash toys. I think they can be pretty fun. I guess, is it my first bash toy?
I would say Iron Maiden. It's a ramp shot up the middle.
Yeah, you have the mummy shot in Iron Maiden.
And yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah,
I didn't even think of that, but Um, yeah, um, it was just once we tried it as a bash toy, we all liked it so much better because it would just
Mhm.
kind of just send us the ball wherever the place. Like I said, and the other thing, once it swallows the ball and goes under, okay, then what? We can't shoot another ball in there.
Yeah.
And when it comes back up, it's either going to vomit it back out, or if the scoop method, it's going to fire it back at you, which is
Right.
also strange. Why is a shark
Firing
firing
it back.
something at you? Yeah, it was a team decision to just axe that.
I agree with your decision, by the way.
I do too. I just find it funny
I'm
how
glad you
much.
did.
Yeah, like the memes have been ridiculous. I don't know if this is like people really care or they
Or
found
they're
something
trolling.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're totally trolling now.
They're chumming. Yeah.
They control all they want. I don't care. I think I know what makes the game fun and what doesn't, and
Yeah.
I didn't like it, so.
Yeah.
So suck it, community. No, it's great. No, I'm really liking the shark mech. It's very unique. The other thing I want to point out too, I've noticed that one of the things that you really like are captive balls, and in this game, the captive ball is the boat, and I find it interesting that the directional play from the ball inside the boat. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen something like this. I don't. Is there inspiration where this came from? I can't really think of another game where it does it. It's
I don't think there is either, unless there's some
It's
ODM. But
well, it seems like a variation a little bit on like the Amy shot, the Congo, like the under where you're punching, but it seems like a step removed from it because you're hitting the ball and it's so it's almost like
instead
a
of the
pool shot.
instead of the gorilla
yeah,
slapping the ball around, it's you slapping the ball around.
Yeah. No, but it seems like a pool shot because you have the cue ball and then you're hitting another ball to hit a target. And that's, I don't know how many, this is the first time I can consider you have to hit a ball to hit another shot.
yeah. So that started off originally. It was more of a very target bash toy. So you had the back of the boat. You kind of hit the back of the boat. The back of the boat would kind of just give away a little bit, and then supposed to push the ball back, but it ended up just like the ball would hit it, the ball would die, and it would just dribble down. It was like, oh, this is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So we went back to the drawing board, and then I had the idea of, like you said, kind of not an omnidirectional, but more of a directional captive ball. Where it's like, hey, since this thing is direct in the middle of the playfield, perfectly horizontal, we can have a traveling captive ball in a little cage there that we can, depending on what direction I hit it, we can hit different targets. And so we tried it out. Oh, this is really cool. So the initial code, you had to hit later on in the game. You had to hit like each individual target with the captive ball in order to like the modes later in the game. But then it became more frustrating than fun. So now we save the actual having to hit a certain target with the ball for certain modes.
Okay.
So getting into that, you have mentioned a few times about code evolving. It seems like your games haven't had a major code overhaul. It seems like it's a natural progression. There are some other games that have had, almost complete reboots. Ghostbusters come to mind, where it almost, in Walking Dead also comes to mind, where it became almost a completely different game later on in the development cycle. But we haven't really seen that from you. The question is, what would prompt the change in code, and what does prompt it, either from a minor standpoint or like a major overhaul?
It does happen in my games. You just don't know about it because I catch it early. There was plenty of times Godzilla. I remember that the way the city inserts worked were completely different, and we with the direction we went, just didn't like it, so we just changed it. Hey, you just play this mode once in each city, you get your annihilation bonus or whatever, move on. With Jaws, um, there were some minor things like the chum bucket. We kind of changed the rules on that. We changed the rules on the bash boat. So, like I said, it was stuff that um, just was, you're hitting a wall gameplay wise just because, something is a little too hard. So we changed things around. Like the chum bucket, originally you had to hit the chum bucket, and then I was like, well, this is too hard, and it's also, you don't want people bouncing the same thing 10 times. So we added, like, once you chum the water, it stays on water, it kind of moves around on the RGBs, kind of floats around the game, so you can hit those as well. Add some more flow to the game and make it less, central, bashing some central toy over and over.
Mm-hmm.
How do you decide what is, because obviously your games speak to all spectrums of the pinball player, from beginner to super expert. How do you balance these games out and figure the chum bucket is too hard or whatnot? Because I assume every game you play, you're very well rehearsed in playing it, and so, or you can obviously get deeper into it than say someone that's been only in the hobby for a year. How are you learning to balance these games for that?
Yeah, it's a learning process. I have, other people play it and get their feedback. For this game, we hired Elizabeth Gieske, who's you guys probably saw her on the stream. She's I think she came on the scene a couple of years ago, but she's, already been hitting up the tournament. She's a very good player, and she has a lot of good ideas. And when she came on board, we started bouncing ideas back and forth. And one of the things I kept telling her, and she agreed, is her measurement was, does my mom understand this? And if not, maybe we should, revisit it. And those words she said they ring so true. If a novice player walks up to it and is completely confused, what's going on, then we're not doing our job very well. It's like I said, this isn't for us. This isn't for tournament players. We got to make something that everybody likes. So the key to that is, make something easy, obvious goals up front with, like, deep strategies later.
Nice.
Okay, this is a submitted question. We know you have a lot of Easter eggs in your games. Can you give us some hints on some Easter eggs that we should be looking for in Josh?
There's none yet. That's usually 1.0 stuff.
Okay.
Besides, so is Gary now going to become like the Stan Lee of Marvel? He's just going to show up randomly in the artwork? Because I notice he's swimming in the water by the rig.
He's floating. He's not swimming. He's floating. He's chum.
Oh, yeah.
Gary is chum in the water.
Yeah, we put him in Godzilla too, but I don't think many people found him.
Oh,
Where's he in Godzilla?
He's on Mecha Godzilla scaffolding with his he's got a little chart with him.
Oh, okay.
Really? That's kind of funny.
Because I know he's one of the aliens in Foo Fighters under the right upper flipper, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So he
we
must be
had fun hiding him in there. So we decided to do it again, but not as hidden.
He's the new cow that just appears everywhere. Just find the Gary.
Yeah, find the Gary. Every game we'll hide Gary somewhere.
Can you kind of speak to, so when this game first revealed, or whatever that was, a lot of people were complaining about Brody, but then once we saw the footage and stuff, Brody is very predominant in all the video and stuff, but he's not really on the artwork. Can you kind of speak to, like, is that like a decision that you guys made, or is it something the licensor asked, hey, no Brody on the playfield?
So the way licensing works, there's likeness rights and the mechanical rights.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's in the movie, yeah, we can use it. In order to draw him, we need his permission, and his estate didn't even respond to us. Whereas we had to work with Dreyfus and the estate of
Shaw.
Robert Shaw.
Mm-hmm.
And they worked with us, so we were able to draw them, and pose them any way we want, and you see that in the artwork. But yeah, we couldn't get a hold of the Brody estate.
Is that kind of why you have, because I know on the premium on the right side it shows Brody, but it's coming from the backside of him looking at the shark, and that's kind of a scene from the movie. So is that why that's there?
Yeah, because that was most likely a stunt double anyway, so that's fine.
Every back looks the same, right?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Okay, so we did this is another question that my friend said. So you said 3 flippers when we talked to you last time, and we were talking about the next game. 3 flippers on the right side, and he's like, "Okay, I'll give you points that they're all connected to the right side." But okay. So, Can you give us a sneak peek on the flipper count for your next game?
4.
Nice.
4. Okay. How many fins? Okay, kidding.
I hear they make excellent natural ramps.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, that was so bad.
break any glasses with the jump
It
ramp,
certainly
with the
scared
jump
us.
shark?
Yeah. That was that. Yeah, we probably should have saw that coming.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we're glad that you tried it because you don't know until you try it, right?
Right.
Well, here's the thing: when we test games, we generally don't have the glass on. So if we shoot a
It
ball
flies
and it ends
off.
up completely outside the cabinet, we
Oh
probably have a
wow.
problem.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So you've obviously had some extra time and whatnot, like Scott was saying. Can you tell me how many designs ahead you are, or how many you've got in the pipeline?
No, my time is occupied by Bond 60th there, which is
Okay.
why I'm not so far ahead on my next one. But that was actually my volunteering when I found out that this was getting pushed back a bit. I was like, well, they were looking for someone to do Bond 60th, and I raised my hand. And kind of worked out perfectly. You kind of just snuck that entire design in while this design was already done. And before I started on my next design, which I didn't know what it was at the time, so it was just kind of a perfect,
the holding pattern.
little availability for me to get do a single level game, which I really like. I have mine upstairs. I love shooting it.
It's a great game. It is fun to shoot. It's very unique, and I'm glad you did it too. Are you looking to do more outside of Cornerstones, or is just Cornerstones the way forward? And if something falls in your lap, kind of situation?
I'll always raise my hand to do a unique project, but nothing in the works right now.
Well, the other thing too, Goma is actually pointing this out. I hadn't really thought about it, but you're kind of the king of the monsters right now. Like you've done Godzilla, and now like Jaws is kind of a monster.
T-Rex was a monster.
Yeah. So is this
Iron
kind
Maiden,
of your
Eddie's a
Eddie
monster.
was a monster.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So is this
Thanos
kind of
was a monster.
Is this a signature for you, or is this like it's just the cards you've been dealt?
It's fine with me. Whatever makes a fun game, and I think monsters kind of lend perfectly to that. So I'll keep doing them. It's fine with me. It beats doing music pins.
So no more
music pins sell.
True.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you have a ton of creative freedom on them.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So you're telling us you're not lining up for like
Billy Joel. You got Billy Joel coming out.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one.
Okay, go for
it. We all know you're a big fan of classics games and kind of the retro feel of games, but obviously the future of pinball has been changing into, you have insider connectivity, you have deeper code, like the stuff from Bally Williams, the 90s stuff. It doesn't cut it anymore, because you have people who are buying the majority of these games and putting them in their homes, so they're really exploring. So what do you feel the future of pinball is moving toward?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think the more we can offer connectivity wise, the better experience you're going to have in a home. So like I said, what we're doing with Jaws is, offering unlockable currency, kind of like when you play Call of Duty, you're earning XP and you're unlocking skins or whatever. So that's kind of what we're doing with this. You're unlocking challenge modes, and I'm sure we'll figure out some other things you can unlock. The leaderboards, I think, are going to be super cool for like the challenge modes. Like I said, when you're doing the video mode, which is completely different than pinball, it's a different skill set. So I'm really curious to see the leaderboards for our video mode challenge, and I think people are going to love that. I think anything you can do to connect scores, compare them to other people, especially in the video mode, because you can't take the glass off and cheat that. So I think it'll be super fun.
Definitely. That's actually what I was going to ask. I was like, how do you prevent cheating? I mean, obviously, if you look at the score and it says Carl D'Angelo next to it, you're like, oh, never mind. But
if I'm beating Carl, then there's an issue. There's rubber bands on the outlanes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why we have verified location and not. So if you're at Logan Arcade, you're probably not going to be like the glass off cheating, and someone will see you. So can we 100% stop it? No, but we can put some safeguards in place.
Mm-hmm.
So your team stayed pretty consistent from all your designs and whatnot. And you typically bring a person in or two, whatnot. Liz seems to be the new person on this game. How has her help with contribution? Has it changed kind of your process a little bit? Has it just been, I don't know, how has it changed things up for you?
Liz is Elizabeth. I don't know if she even goes by Liz,
Oh, okay,
but
Elizabeth.
maybe she does. She has basically implemented the rules I've written. She's also written some rules herself, most notably Cast and Catch and Scars. She's great because she'll put in what I write, and then she'll like, well, I think this will work better this way. So she'll kind of tailor them to make them better. Because it's easier for her because she's right there programming it. She can make changes on the fly rather than having to make me a build and send it to me. Like I said, we bounce back and forth ideas. How is the average person going to understand this? How are they going to understand that? And, what can we do, text-wise on the screen to help, better understand what's going on. So, she's a pinball genius. So, you don't need to explain anything to her. She just picks up on everything right away and knows exactly, how the mode should work, what makes it fun, and how best to explain it to both, expert and novice players.
Now, we've talked about this before. Before you took your job at Stern, you played a lot more competitive pinball. But as you've moved to Stern, we all need a break from work, right? And so you have stepped a little bit back from the competitive pinball scene, even though you still show up for majors. Do you still get the same buzz by going to pinball tournaments that you used to?
Not really. It was something I did for so long. I mean, my first tournament was in 1993. That's how long I've been doing it.
Nice.
And when I lived in Carlsbad, I had a whole room full of games set up, super tournament hard. I had the outlanes gone, steep, wax, or whatever, and that was kind of like my training ground for when I would go to a tournament. And now I have like 3 or 4 games that I don't really play at home other than the game I'm testing. And it's just it's like one or the other. It's really hard to focus on both.
So one of the things that you've talked to us about before is when this game release, when your game releases, you're pretty much sick of it because you've been playing it nonstop for like the 2 months prior. Same situation with Jaws, getting it prepared, or since you had a break, is it kind of like refreshing coming back and be like, oh, yeah, I do remember this now?
Well, yeah, I've been playing nothing but Jaws for the past 6 months. So yeah, when I went to Indus, playing anything other than Jaws felt weird, and it's a hard feeling to describe. Like I said, it's my own fault. I know I can go out and play other games, but I just haven't chosen to. And it's fine. I wouldn't say I'm sick of it. Like I never got sick of Godzilla. I never got sick of Avengers. I never got sick of Iron Maiden or Jurassic. But there is at times like, yeah, I'm good not playing it for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Usually, once we hit 1.0 and then we start like dabbling in the next game, then I'll take a break.
And speaking of big tournaments, Pinburg is back. So and you're the king of Pinburg, if I understand correctly. So are you planning on being there, or are they even?
No, I can't make it that weekend.
Maybe you can play
But
virtually. Yeah,
it's all right. We'll see next year. Maybe hopefully they'll grow some and it won't fall on a weekend. I already had plans, but yeah, I'm curious to see how it goes there. And I'm excited that those guys were. I believe Doug is spearheading this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, Doug was on Pinball Profile with Jeff Teolis. So if you want to hear more about that experience, go over and check that out. It was a really good interview. So
how has the now you are in the new facility now? You have officially moved. Has that changed anything from what you are in charge of and what your plans are?
No, but I lost my window view.
No.
No, I'm in a much bigger office now, but yeah, I did lose my view. But
Mm-hmm.
that's cool. I have my new office. I can probably cram, 6 or 7 machines in there. It's so much bigger than the old office. And yeah, the building's really cool. I'm sure you've seen like footage of it, and where we streamed the other night, you can see it over the
Yeah,
cube
it
farm, all the
looks
banners we had
huge.
hanging up.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah,
huge.
it's really cool.
Well, that's what made me chuckle too. So I was watching the videos between the new presentation video, which I loved, by the way, with Gomez and you kind of just doing a brief 5 minute. This is what it is.
That
This is
was
how
great.
we're doing.
Do that every time. Seriously.
Yeah, 100%. But it was funny because I'd been in the new facility and I saw that was in the lineup, like right as you walk through the front. It's not right as you walk in the front door, but if you walk in the front door, you can see over that location. I'm like, how'd you guys sneak that up front without you just guys not plan tours for that day? And you're like, okay, this day we're sticking Jaws up front and we're doing this presentation.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to see through all those doors.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about. You can kind of see through the whole building there, but it's really hard to make anything out. Trust me, we've all tried. Hey, can we see that from there? I guess you really can't.
It seems like at any given time, there is a Keith Elwin game on the line. So, does that put pressure on you with your next games? I mean, obviously, Godzilla was, to put it bluntly, a monster. It's highly rated. It really did the unthinkable, and it took over Medieval Madness for the #1 ranking, which Medieval Madness has been there forever. Was there any concern with you coming out with the next game to say, wow, that I hit a huge high mark on my last game? How is this one going to be received?
Yeah, I mean, I can't think like that. I just gotta like, hey, here's what I have to work with. Here's what I'm thinking. Let's try to make this work. And I take not to sound too baseball-y, but one game at a time, and not worry about what I did in the past. Other than I'm trying not to repeat designs, which is one of the reasons that this game kind of, if you walk up to it, it looks different than my other designs. It's because I'm trying something new. It's like you walk up, you look at it, oh, these shots look familiar, but then when you shoot them, they go a completely different path than what you're expecting. So I was trying something a little out of the box for me, and I think it worked. I really like the way it flows.
So you spoke that you worked on Jurassic Park 30th. What did you do to help kind of bring that to fruition, and what's different about that than, because it kind of looks like just an art package slapped on, but it sounds like there's more that was involved.
Well, it was adding the whole co-op stuff was very time consuming, and stuff that we had to draw out. It's like, okay, what can we share? What can we not share? It was very time consuming to figure out, how to balance it between the teams. Like, hey, so if this person lights, 2 control rooms, does this mean the third person only has this one option left? A lot more goes in the co-op than you might realize.
I was say I didn't even think I knew that
I
this
didn't
had
even
co-op.
I didn't even know that was it. So I have an LE. Is that on the LE also now?
Every Jurassic Park has it now. So that's the benefit of doing the 30th, is that everyone's game now has co-op.
Oh wow!
So if you hold both flipper buttons, you'll see the co-op menu. There's co-op, 3 against 1, 2 on 2, 1 on 1, and yeah, I think there's something else. I don't remember.
Oh wow! So definitely check that out. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Nor did I.
Yeah, that's you asked what was so time consuming. It was, Raymond helped with that too. Rick, Raymond, and myself just kind of sat down and it's like, well, this is what it's going to be. This is what it's going to share. This is what's not going to share. This is how this is going to work under this circumstance. And it was very complicated. Plus all the UI work. So now we're showing each team is now color coded and where they are respective to each other on the map. A lot of work went into that. Rick and Raymond really busted their butt on that.
So is it kind of similar to Turtles, where everyone works together? If one person gets to a mini wizard mode, everyone gets to a mini wizard mode. How
on
does
your
that
team,
work?
yes. Or it depends what it is. Some of them, like King of the Island, I know that whoever gets to it first gets to it. But I think most of them are set up that if one person gets there, it's left for the next person.
Okay. Yeah, I was not aware. I don't feel like this was pushed at all. I didn't know there was co-op at all.
Yeah.
Next, that's funny because Scott owns the game too.
Yeah, I like. Well, okay. I just did a major rehaul on my room, and I brought down Godzilla, I brought down Rush, and so I've been playing those a lot more because they were in my garage and they were so cold. So it's nice to have them down now.
Well,
So
check it out.
I finally got Iron Maiden and Godzilla in the same room.
Yeah, we got more callouts added too. Rick Z came and did another session for us for the Jurassic Park callout. So yeah, it was a solid update.
Yeah, that's great to know.
So I've noticed, Jaws is Spielberg, Jurassic Park is Spielberg. Is there any Spielberg movie you would just die to do? Is Spielberg? Are you a fan of Spielberg or
Duel, man?
Duel?
Yeah,
I don't know what Duel is.
that's his first movie.
Oh, is it?
Yep. It's
Going way back in the vault.
It's basically Jaws. It's a big truck is chasing a little car, and
Wow.
I've never even heard of this. Now I'm gonna have to look this up.
Yeah.
Solid movie. You guys should watch it.
Be like George Lucas doing a George Lucas, was it THX 157 or whatever that sci-fi movie he did before he did Star Wars.
I'll have to check this out. That is pretty random.
All right.
So I'm just so much older than you guys. Wow.
That's not true. I turned 50 this year.
Okay. Well, to be fair, my mom, it was one of my mom's favorite movies. So when I was a kid, she would just like, "Oh, it's on, watch it." And it was like, that's how I knew about it.
Gotcha.
Okay, well, if you rewound to what my mom watched all the time, it was Murder, She Wrote. So if you want to do a Murder, She Wrote pinball machine, that would be great. I would be all in. Be all in.
That'd be epic. Yeah.
I think she's actually a serial killer, though. She's in a very small town in Maine, and everybody dies.
Yeah, everybody dies.
Like she's the one who's doing it all. Okay,
it's just like a Die Hard, Bruce Willis, wherever he goes. Terrorists.
Yeah, stay away. Okay, so in keeping with the theme of the water, so if you are on a desert island and you could only have one triple drain guy, so you have Joel, you have Tom, and you have Travis, who would you want on the island and why?
On a deserted island?
Yes.
Okay, so I saw Castaway, and I saw his toothache, so I'm taking Tom.
You're thinking Tom. Okay.
Tom.
Oh, you know what? That's
hilarious.
I didn't even think about that. That's brilliant.
Which is funny because Tom's follow-up question is, why don't you like him?
Yeah.
Any kind of tooth pain? Tom, what's going on?
That's right. Yep. You know what?
I'll drive him nuts.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? You went a completely different direction. I just thought like Joel would be better at back rubs. Travis would do feet rubs. Travis could cook. I'm not exactly sure, but toothache. You know what? I'm with you on that. My job is to take away pain too, so I'm totally on board with that.
Scott's making anesthesia out of like coconut husks.
Yeah, blending coconuts. Yeah, that'd be great.
You can just grab an ice skate and knock that tooth out.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Okay, all-time favorite game from the 70s and all-time favorite game from the 80s.
From the 70s? Oh. Yeah, that's a tough one. I guess I would have to say Harlem. And I remember being at the bowling alley when they unboxed that. I was just a little kid. I was like, wow, this game is so cool because I was a little kid into the Harlem Globetrotters. I was like, I would play that thing for days. 80s.
If you
I
haven't
just set my Torpedo Alley back up, and I was like, man, the 80s are so campy.
Oh, yes, you mean the painted on pants?
Yeah, painted on pants.
Those are really awkward.
Man, Whirlwind really stands out to me as one of my favorite 80s games, and then of course the classic Bally's, Frontier Skateball.
Sure.
You're gonna make me choose one.
Yeah, this is Desert Island. We're still on the desert island.
Desert Island. I'm definitely taking Whirlwind.
Okay.
That's a really good choice.
And the big one, the 90s.
One Desert Island pin from the 90s. I'm gonna have to say Congo.
Okay.
Nice. I've got to
It's
ask.
probably my favorite shooting '90s game.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
It really is.
There's not as many produced as people thought.
No, I think a lot of them got converted to Monster Bashes and
Mhm.
stuff. I remember back in the day, In Search of Congo to part out and convert to a Monster Bash.
And there was one there. Okay, there was one that was like a black and white option too, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think there was some kind of kit or something. I
Yeah.
don't really remember. I know somebody has a hairy one that they used to bring to Expo and had a gorilla fur on the outside of it. It was very strange to play.
Like it was rubbing hair on your hands as you flipped the buttons.
The entire cabinet was covered in fur. Yeah.
Fur. It's a
Yeah.
wow. That sound insulation. You know, you play that and the sound doesn't go anywhere.
That's a good point. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was kind of an interesting mod.
I knew that because I never thought it was weird growing up that my parents put carpet on the walls. Legitimately carpet on the wall. Like you go to Graceland and you see the carpet on the ceiling and people think it's so weird. And I'm like, I don't know. I grew up with that. That I figured out that my parents were like, you know what? You guys are down there and loud. So just shut up.
So are you going to try to do more upper playfields, or is this kind of like one and done kind of thing? Or
Never say never, but we'll see.
Okay, the horizontal spinners though, that's did that prime the pump? Okay, did you do this first, or because you have them on Bond 60?
This is a completely different type. If you're familiar with the Jurassic Park premium, the little helicopter spinner,
Yeah.
it's more based on that, where it's a top-loaded disc with playfield underneath it, whereas like the Bond 60th is actually a mechanism that comes up from underneath the playfield and is completely routed out whole, and the ball hits post on the disc itself, whereas this it's all completely above the playfield.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot lighter.
I do like that when you hit that spinner, because like you have to reel in your shark with it. That's cool that it sounds like an actual real reeling in your shark. Like
well, I needed something to slow the ball down, because without that, if you take that thing off, that ball whips around there so incredibly fast that it's just crazy. So I needed something to slow it down, and a standard spinner would not do it. So I was like, well, I can theme this as a fishing reel and use a disc. It's a metal disc with a plastic on top, and it's counterweighted to always go to the same spot, and that creates a lot of weight, so it really slows the ball down. So it feeds the figure eight, the little catch portion of the mini flipper. So that's where that was born. And then I used it again on the upper play field because it kind of just fit perfectly there as the ship's wheel.
I wonder if I can install that on Godzilla, because that basically the repeatable shot from the upper flipper, I can get it twice, and then it's going way too fast.
Oh yeah. Godzilla, man, if you keep that thing waxed, it is so hard. And,
yeah.
Jaws is the same way. It's a really fast game. You don't realize it until you're in front of it. That center ramp just whips so quickly, right back at you.
I'm hearing very positive reviews from people that have already got to play these in arcades and whatnot. And that's one of the first things they say is it's a very fast mover, and they weren't expecting the upper playfield to you have to get used to it, because it goes so fast.
Yeah, I'm reading these stream comments. Nobody's shooting the upper playfield. It's like, no, we are. You just don't see it because it's so fast. Jimmy, you'll see it when you play at the upper playfield. Yeah, you have about 1 second to aim and flip, and then the ball's gone. So, like I said, it's a flow-based upper playfield. I get that on stream that probably doesn't really come across too well, but when you're playing it, I really like it.
I like it too, because it rewards you for making the shot, and it punishes you if you don't. Like if you miss, it drains right down, or not drains, but it shoots it towards the middle of the flippers.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was one of the first things I knew or noticed. I was like, man, this upper playfield just looks like it's got so many unique shot combinations. What's the top different amount of shot combos you can do? Like if you're stringing a bunch of shots together, what's the most you can string together?
I don't know. I didn't think about it.
Okay.
We don't have a standard combo system on this game. We have modes that are combo based. But yeah, I don't know. I know Iron Maiden was 6. I think Jurassic was 6. If you can do more than 6, then yeah, you're doing something good.
Mm.
Yeah.
It seems like the left out lane is significantly lower than the right out lane. Does that feed into the design process? Because the bottom line is the kickers. The goal of the kickers is to shoot it toward the out lane, and it's to. So how does that change when your kickers are roughly the same? Because it doesn't really, at least just from my eye, it doesn't seem like it's shooting to the outline.
Yeah, it probably doesn't. It really Slingshots are fairly safe on this game, and first for me, there are non-symmetrical slingshots. The right one
Oh.
is smaller than the left one,
Hmm.
and that was to accommodate the ball screaming down the left lane and feeding the in lane. So, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of slingshots to just dump the ball in the out lane. I think they create enough chaos as it is that they don't need to do that too.
Mm-hmm.
That's just one of the reasons why my games have always had the slingshots further back as well.
But you also have, and you have 2 posts down on each side. On Jurassic Park, you just had one on the left. And so is it, tell me about that. It seems a little bit like Cactus Canyon where it'll freeze it. And is there something that pops up that you have to shoot, like a time shot, or what's the point of those?
Only on the first time when you're first starting multi-ball, when you have time hitting the fin target. The post will come up. It'll do shoot it now, and then releases, and you have to shoot the moving fin. That's the only time we're using a timed feature like that. We tried it, for every one of the lock shots, as it were. And Elizabeth's like, "Oh God, I hate this post," and I'm like, "Yeah, me too." So we'll just do it for the first one to introduce people to the mechanic and make this little mini moment. And then we'll just use it to stop the ball for mode starts and whatnot after that.
Can you not post transfer on this one? Because I know with like Godzilla, you really can't. These are looking pretty far back.
I mean, all my games you can. It's just harder than
you just have to be better, Josh.
Yeah, exactly.
Play better.
Okay. I will say, after moving my Godzilla downstairs, I don't know if the way it's set up, hitting that scoop is one of the hardest shots, like for some reason. Like I don't know if like maybe the playfield's not leveled to the right, but sometimes I nail it and it just kicks right back out. So
I will say if you have aftermarket flipper rubber, it might be impossible to do post pass on.
Yeah.
But with the standard black factory rubber, it's possible. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got to ask. So it's really random. I don't know if people have seen this picture. I'll probably put it as the podcast picture. But it's you, Richard Dreyfuss, and Jody Dankberg. For some odd reason, he's holding up a little donut.
Yeah. What's up with the donut?
And why does Richard look like he's so ticked in the picture? Like he just doesn't.
He hurt himself playing pickleball like a couple days before we recorded. Yeah. He was on some meds and he needed to eat. He needed to eat donuts. He needed some sugar. He needed to eat donuts, and I think he had some Diet Dr. Pepper or something with him. And then he had a few donuts left over. So when we're done recording, he handed both Jody and I a donut. You guys want a donut? So we posed with the donut.
You know what? Hey, if you post with the donut, that's a good thing.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, I got a donut from Richard Dreyfuss today." Of course, I can't post that because it's a secret. But
right. Yeah. Well, you actually kept it home and you put in plexiglass, and it's on your desk now. So
I think Jody did. I think Jody had him sign it.
That's awesome.
Wow.
How was it working with Richard and the Callouts?
Oh, it was great. It was funny. He it's like almost like he didn't know what he was recording. He was thinking, yeah. So this casino game, I was like, oh no, the pinball machine. He's like, oh. And he's like, okay, that makes a lot more sense. So, like I said, I know he had a rough couple of days because of his pickleball injury. So, but yeah, Jody and I were both excited for him to show up. He showed up and he was really nice, cordial, and then let me know what you want. So he went through and read everything way too fast, and then so we're like, yeah, can you slow this down a little bit and a little more emphasis on here and there, and
Okay, I really hope that you got him to do the "What About Bob" call out, where he's tied to the boat. He's like, "I'm sailing, I'm sailing."
I did get him to say this means something from Close Encounters. I don't think he
Nice.
understood.
No, that was a long time ago, like
Yeah, yeah. So
77 or
next time,
something.
yep. Next time we're playing with our mashed potatoes,
Yeah.
we'll bust that clip out.
Okay, did you know that this is weird trivia with Steven Spielberg and George Lucas? Did you know that they had a bet on which movie would make more money, Star Wars and Close Encounters? And so they each gave each other a small portion of the movie as the bet. And
Huh.
Star Wars, obviously, Star Wars completely obliterated Close Encounters, but they were both. George Lucas was confident that Close Encounters was going to make way more money.
I liked it, the movie, as a kid. I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the pinball machine came out. I was like, yeah. And I started playing it. Wow, this sucks.
That is the worst when you have a dream theme and you go and play it and you're like, yeah, I think I can pass on that.
Yeah. The 70s were tough for Gottlieb.
Yeah.
So when you were storyboarding, was Quint and shark hunting always kind of this is the way we're going, or did you have any other storyboards for?
Well, I mean, this is kind of a tough license to work with as far as like things to do pinball wise. So we had to come up with a way to kind of, fill some space. And one of those ways is, well, how does Quint earn a living? Well, he's the bounty hunter. He basically goes after sharks and, collects a reward on them. So we decided to integrate that into the game itself.
Mm-hmm.
And so we took all sharks that they mentioned in the movie, or at least Dreyfuss mentioned in the movie, or, Quint did in stories. And then we, this is how we came up with the four other sharks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was gonna say, yeah, because I just watched Jaws recently this past couple weeks, and I was noticing that all the sharks that were in the movie you would put in a game, like the tiger shark and the mako and whatnot. So,
well, and you have the license plate, right?
Yep.
And the license plate that you took out of was it a tiger shark, or like in the movie? I can't remember which shark. They pull it out of the gut, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is it." It's like
there's the tiger shark.
Yeah.
It's actually part of the player screen in the top middle. It tells you what ball
exactly.
And whatever.
From Louisiana.
So Keith, I mean, obviously Stern did Baywatch, and it had a shark in it. Did you guys think about repurposing that and putting that in this game?
We thought about it. We do not know where that tool is anymore. So
the tool for the flipper mech?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was actually a topper.
Oh, it
really?
was.
It was. Yeah. It was built into the top of a mini flipper. It wasn't all one molded piece.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And then, and Baywatch it's kind of like Phantom Flip for Monster Bash and whatnot. Did you guys ever consider putting that in with this?
I hate that. I hate that.
Okay, seriously, that shot never works. By the way,
trust me, nothing about Baywatch was thought about during this game, other than that they're both blue.
Wait, you mean you don't have a Pamela Anderson cameo of running across the screen away from the shark? That's the Easter egg right there. That's the Easter egg.
That's the best video mode ever.
That definitely has to be in the 3D.
Oh, wow. Hold on. I'm getting my 3D glasses.
That is great.
Okay, actually, that is one thing we didn't bring up. So you have the 3D mode, and so you have the glasses. How does that work? Do you you got the move and you just throw them on real quick? Because you can enable it or you can disable it, obviously. But it's kind of a fun little Easter egg tidbit thing, because Jaws was 3D. Like Jaws 3 was Jaws 3D.
Yeah. No, it's just a fun little thing we thought of, because when we're doing this video mode based on an old rifle game where you're standing at a rifle and you're looking depth wise, technically you're looking straight ahead, but it's a mirror and you're looking down that gives you this great depth. So it's like, I wonder if we can, if we use 3D, we can kind of simulate, the sharks are back here and then they're marking their way towards you. Our art guys, took a few stabs on it and they were like, well, yeah, check it out. This actually works. So we're like, cool. So yeah. And then George saw it and he's like, oh my God, this is awesome. We're going to include 3D glasses with every game. And I was like, oh, awesome.
That's fun.
Now you can I was gonna say now you can buy your Stern pin gulp for your machine to hold your glasses.
There
and
you
your
go.
beer.
Exactly.
Your glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the glasses were mainly meant for the challenge mode when you're playing multiple levels. Yeah, I don't expect you to like whip out the glasses to play, a 20-second video mode and then take them off. You can. That's why we left that option in there. But realistically, it's for the challenge mode.
Oh, okay. Because
And that's a
that
fair-
actually that does play into my childhood because I swear every single like 3D books like from the book fair, they were huge when I was a kid. Like
Oh, yeah.
for some reason it's like I don't know. It was, and also the paint by dots where it had the paint already there and you just put like water on them. They blend it all together. Like that was definitely my childhood.
Our art guys all ruined their vision to make this mode possible. So Zach would be wearing his glasses for so long, he would take them off. He's like, if I look at a white wall and close one eye, it's completely red. It's like the other guy, it's cyan. I was like, yeah. So I tried it too. I put the glasses on for like a minute, took them off. And I was like, oh my god, yeah, the color of the wall is changing.
Yep.
It takes a good 20 minutes for your vision to get back to normal.
How do you find, because when you're playing this mode, it's like the old school bells and reels,
it's awesome
and
old,
the clicker mode. Like, how did you get those sounds without like telling anyone like we need to find this machine to get its sounds?
Jerry has quite a big catalog of electromechanical sounds. So
okay, yeah, because I'm like, it sounds pretty spot on to what was in the movie, and I've never played this game. I heard it's not that like the '70s game's not that great, so I heard it's not.
It's awful.
Most of those games are terrible. Like, if you
in
buy,
particular is awful.
Yeah, if you buy a lot of those games and put them in your house, you'll play them for like 5 minutes because there's a reason why you put a quarter in, and that was kind of the attention level that game deserved.
Yeah. There's some shooting games I really enjoy. Mostly the older ones.
Yeah,
that one was from. That one uses, I think it uses like a projector, some kind of projector to project sharks like floating around, and yeah, it's kind of weird.
I just remember there was one that was called Battle Zone where you put your head in like this little it was like a periscope type thing. But yeah, that was a similar type thing, but I think that was a vector game.
I think that pretty much does it for all the questions we have. So I'm gonna wrap this up. If you want to get a hold of with Keith, you just don't, right? Like, don't send him memes of shark eating ball. Don't
just wave at him at a show. So
yeah.
So, I gotta mention though, I ran into you at Expo and we were chit chatting, and it was funny because I brought my little Godzilla card for you to sign, and not even like 5 minutes before your girlfriend or whatever was like, people are really having you sign things, and then here I walk up and, can you sign this for me?
Hey, can you sign this?
Yeah, he doesn't get why people like me. I don't either, so fine.
Okay, well, that's kind of back to when I think George was on a date and he took his date to a pinball place and someone recognized him and she's looking at him like, "Who are you?"
Yeah, can't even walk down the street, man.
Yeah, terrible.
It's hard being pinball famous, I know.
Yeah, pinball famous.
Well, if you want to get a hold of us, we are loserkidpinballpodcast@gmail.com. On the socials, we're at loserkidpinball. That's Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, all that jazz. Make sure to subscribe and like. Just give us our last word, Scott.
We're going to need a bigger boat.